Bum 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 ba-dum bum 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 ba-da-da-dum bum bum ba-dum ba-ba-dum bum 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 ba-dum bum 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 ba-da-da-dum bum bum ba-dum ba-ba-dum ba da 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 dum ba da 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 dum bum ba da da. Yikes! Da da ba da bum 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 ba dum bum ba dum ba da dum ba da 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 bum ba dum bum bum bum. Hello, my friends. Hello, my mighties, and hello, my Facebook friends, and those who are on YouTube and X, and where else are we? Rumble, and I got to remember all these places now, all of these platforms, Facebook, etc. Hello, my friends. It's wonderful to see you. My name is Joette Calabrese, and we do something every single Monday night at 8 o'clock Eastern time, don't we? We do one thing and one thing only, and that is we talk about homeopathy. I teach you what I know, and you can chime in. I look forward to it. I like to hear your comments. I like to see your questions. I like when you help each other. That's part of this whole community. It's part of my whole persona, I guess you might say, or my goal is for people to be able to connect and help each other. It's a very important thing, particularly in the world in which we live today. So tonight, we are going to talk about coughs, colds and coughs mostly. And we're really going to be talking about acute coughs. Now, the difference between an acute cough and a chronic cough is that an acute cough is something that comes and will naturally go on its own. A chronic cough, such as asthma, will not go away on its own. The episode might end, but it will return because asthma is considered a chronic condition. So first, let me say hello to my friends. Hello from Knoxville, Tennessee. Hello from Toronto. I'm obsessed with practical homeopathy, in need of a Ratrum album for overspending on remedies and your courses. What a lovely thing to say, Olga. Yeah, I'm obsessed with practical homeopathy myself. Yeah, this is different, isn't it, my friends? If you've ever studied or worked with someone who was a classical homeopath, you know how different it is to be using this method versus a classical method. So hello from Chicago. Hi, Bob and Deb Dunbar from Kentucky. Hey, friends. Hello from St. Louis, says Heather. Yep. And excited for my first live event from Utah. Hi, Paige. Welcome. Welcome. Why sing this? I don't know. That's what I sing. It's a song that my brother wrote and recorded, and it's part of my what I put on my site in a number of places. So that's why I sing it. I love it. Hello, Cookstown from Cookstown, Ontario here. Hello from West Virginia, says Chuck. Oh, we've got more men here tonight. That's Norm. Hello from New Hampshire. Elvira. Yeah, it's really nice to see men. It's great. Now, this is normally women's work. I'm going to be honest. Women are the ones who take care of their families. But we like to include men as well. Hello from Denver, and hi, Leanne. Hi, Noreen. All my friends, all my students / now friends in my academy. And someone wrote earlier about her children being sick with coughs. So first I want to tell you that coughs and colds are not easy. And I'll show you why. I will give you an example of why that is. Oh, I don't have my repertory in front of me. I have it in the other room. Well, instead of showing it to you, I'm going to tell you that if you look in the repertory under coughs, dry cough, you'll see about maybe 100 remedies from which to choose. It's a lot of remedies. How do you know which one to use? So then if you look in the repertory and go further and further into it, you will see that it's broken down. Cough worse at night, cough with measles, cough with fever, etc., etc., etc. Oh, hi, don't forget about us who are pregnant. I've had a cough for 2 months. It's much better, but still not totally gone. Thanks, says Kelly. So I like to see these comments. They kind of help me guide through the evening. So what I want to go through is a few coughs, and there are so many. I'm going to go to the most commonly used coughs that I find most useful in my practice. And then I want to read something to you that I think is really interesting. The number one remedy that I chose for a cough that is so common, especially for long duration of coughs, I mean for a long period of time, is drosera, rotundifolia. Rotundifolia is the second word. Drosera is the first word, and you don't really need the second word so much because drosera is such a common remedy, and it's a remedy for a dry cough. It's worse after talking or laughing, so that's when it comes on. There may be some vomiting. I've got my notes here, and it's worse from laying down. It also happens to be a great medicine for asthma, but I love this medicine for whooping cough. Now, whooping cough is often diagnosed, but with nothing more than clinical observation. So a whooping cough is the kind of cough where there is a whoop. There's this strange sound, excuse me, at the end of the inspiration. But there isn't always a whoop. So whooping cough can be a cough that is the person, the child, more often than not, is fine all day long, and then into the night, as soon as it turns to nighttime, that's when they start coughing. And when I say they're fine all day, they're actually playing and eating and acting normally, and that's generally the way it works. But then there's also, at times, great fatigue. And whooping cough is often called the 100-day cough because it lasts so long. So I keep hearing about that. I hear a lot about coughs that are lasting long periods of time. And so drosera, and what potency would I use? I like it in a 30. I also like it in a 200. How often might I use it? I might use it 2 or 3 times a day, depending on the severity of the cough. The more severe it is, the more frequently would use it. And I want you all to remember, my friends, that these are not supplements. They're not vitamins. It does not mean that you take them forevermore. You take them for a certain amount of time, and then as you see improvement, then you back off a little bit, and you use it less frequently. That's the way homeopathy works, because homeopathy is stimulating the body's natural ability to correct itself. So all it is a gentle stimulus, or I don't know if it's a stimulus. I guess it's a stimulus. That might be a way to say it. Now, let me also go to, for children, I want to jump to this because I just used this frequently or recently for a friend, a client, and she has a child who has a cough, and this cough can be used for a cold, a cough that's an acute, or it can be used for a chronic condition. And this remedy is called Sambucus. And for those of you who are herbalists, know botanicals, you know what that's made of. It is blackberry. Correct me if I'm wrong. It's a berry. I've actually made Sambucus cough medicine myself from collecting my own. Blackberries, and I made it for years. But then once I learned homeopathy, then I just used the homeopathic elderberry. No, I don't think it's elderberry. You think it's elderberry? Sambucus nigra. You think it's elderberry? Okay. Yeah. Okay, so let's go into that. So Sambucus nigra is for a cough, especially for children. It doesn't mean an adult can't use it. It really means that it is more likely to be found in a child. And it's for a child who has snuffles. The cough is it's not generally here. It's in here mostly, maybe a little bit into the throat. It can be suffocative because there's so much coughing. There's a snorky sound. And especially in little children who are nursing, it makes it difficult for them to nurse. They sound like little Miss Piggies. It's worse at night, and it can be paroxysmal. So paroxysmal, I never get that right, paroxysmal cough, which means that it is almost convulsive. paroxysms of coughing. The child needs to sit up from the coughing spells. And it can be, as I said, for an acute condition, or it can be for a chronic condition. And I like that also in a 30 or a 200. And the same thing, I would use it a few times a day, 2-3 times a day. As it improves, we back off, use it then only twice a day. And as it improves even further, then maybe stop altogether and resume if it is needed again. Don't assume that the cough returns after halting the use of the medicine, that, oh no, it's back again. No, it's a very cool thing. Oh yay, it's back again. Because now you know exactly what to use. Now there's another cough that I think is really valuable, particularly for a cough that's worse at night. But this one's a little different. And I read this book to my Mighties, Joett's Mighty members. For those of you who are not members, you might want to consider becoming a member. I've been reading this book for over a year now, 50 Reasons for Being a Homeopath by Dr. James Compton Burnett. This book was written in 1892, or it was printed then. Is that right? 1890 something. And it was 1896. And what I like about this book is that he gives the reasons why he's a homeopath. And why is he a homeopath? Because he tells us that it is each of the conditions that he has resolved with a specific medicine. Now, I'm diving right into the chapter because I'm not going to read the entire chapter to you, but I want to read this. Okay, I had happened to read this book called New Remedies by Dr. Hale some 6 or 7 years ago, and I was much struck with the character of the cough. I fancied the thing that helped to impress it upon my mind was the fact that I had just at that period a lady under my care who was suffering from a cough that came on after lying down at night. After lying down at night, not after lying down in the morning, not because it's nighttime. Two characteristics or two aspects. After lying down at night. And I had been tinkering away at this cough and could not cure it. So I blamed her damp house in which she resided and its proximity to a brook prettily hidden among the willows close by. Hyoscyamus, digitalis, and a number of other remedies came into play, but the cough would not budge a bit. Need I tell you the heart rendering that the patient lost faith in her doctor, the writer, he says, and inasmuch vaunted pathy, and set about healing herself with quack medicines and orthodox sedative cough mixtures. Of course, I felt humiliated, and I therefore made up my mind to read my Materia Medica a little more diligently. It was quite evident that the cough was a curable one. For the most careful physical examination failed to detect anything besides a few moist rales that tallied with the very moderate amount of expectoration. He says, failures are very instructive at times. And let me give you my point of view on that because I couldn't agree more. Don't waste a mistake, my friends. Learn from the mistake and make a point of using it to boost you to the next decision. Okay, just after having received my conge, which is a leaf from this lady, I was reading Hale's New Remedies and came across Dr. S.A. Jones' proving of Aralia racemosa, where he says, at 3 p.m., I took 10 drops of the mother tincture in 2 ounces of water. An interesting book caused me to forget my dose. The events of the night jogged my memory very effectively. End of quote. He goes on to say that he retired to rest at midnight, feeling as well as ever, but he had no sooner lain down that he was seized with a fit of asthma. I put down the book, Hale's New Remedies. It was not quite so thick that it is now, and said to myself, that's Mrs. N's cough. That is just how she does. She lies down and forthwith begins to cough, to get labored breathing, and to make her poor, hard-toiling husband wish he were a bachelor. At least he might have wished it, for aught I know to the contrary. A little time elapsed, and the writer was sent for to see one of this coughing lady's children with eczema. Now, he writes about himself in the third person. He's the writer. The Baron's common integument, a tough protective layer, having been prescribed for, I timidly inquired about the cough. "Oh," said Mrs. N., "it is as bad as ever. I have tried everything and do not know what to do. I sat down and wrote," said this author, Dr. Compton Burnett. Aralia, 2. And it cured cito tuto et jucunde, which means the highest ideal of cure. And not because Aralia is good for coughs and has an affinity for the respiratory organs merely, but because it is capable of causing a cough like the one that was to be cured. It causes that cough when given in the gross form, the cough that comes on at night after lying down. Then, in homeopathic formula, it cures it, it uproots it. This happened somewhere about 6 or 7 years ago, and I have since cured this kind of cough with Aralia whenever I've come across it, and at a rough guess, I should say that would be 30 or 40 times. Now he goes on to talk about a couple more cases of using Aralia, A-R-A-L-I-A, Aralia, and the second word is racemosa, R-A-C-E-M-O-S-A. But Aralia is good enough, A-R-A-L-I-A. Aralia is an excellent medicine for the cough ensuing after lying down at night. Not upon lying down, after lying down. So often it's someone who goes to bed, is in bed for some time, an hour, even 15 minutes, but it's after lying down. They're in bed sometime, and that's when the cough begins. Aralia, A-R-A-L-I-A. Great word, great name, wonderful stuff. So how would I use this? I would use it in a 6, a 30. I don't know that I'd go as far as a 200. I'm not sure it's necessary, particularly because Dr. James Compton Burnett used it in a 3. I'm perfectly happy using it in a low potency as well. So, Aralia. Now we have 2 medicines that are specifically useful for when someone is laying down and the cough gets worse. In Aralia, it's the only time there's a cough pretty much after lying down. And in Sambucus, it's a cough that can also be found during the day, but it's once the child goes to bed. You see where we're going with this? I'm trying to come together because coughs can be very complex. And let me also say parenthetically, my friends, that many times people who are new to homeopathy figure, well, I should be able to handle a cough or a cold. And again, I'm going to tell you they're the most difficult of all conditions to correct because there's so many undulations. It changes. It moves from people. Not everyone acts in the same way. The father may have it this way. The mother might have it that way. The child present in this kind of coughing situation. The other child might present in another way. So it makes it more complicated because coughs are very specific to how they act. Now, I want to go to a medicine tonight. I was actually going to save this one, but I decided not to for one very important reason. Excuse me. Because someone was talking about a cough where the child coughs so much that they vomit. And that is a very specific cough. Whether it's for an acute or it is a chronic, this medicine is excellent when there's nausea or vomiting, especially in relationship to a cough. In other words, the person coughs so much that they gag. They cough so much that they vomit. They cough so much that it makes them nauseous. This medicine is called Ipecac. I-P-E-C-A-C. So if you're familiar with Ipecac, how it used to have been used, everyone had syrup of Ipecac in their medicine cabinet, I don't know, for a century or so. That's what was used for when children might get into something like lye and drink it, it would cause the child to vomit. And that's because it was in gross form. It was in the syrup form, meaning it truly was just Ipecac. However, In homeopathic formula, they've gotten the Ipecac and diluted it and succussed it and diluted it and succussed it a number of times. And I like Ipecac. Usually it's in a 6 or 30. 6C or 30C, which means it's been diluted 6 times, C, to the 100th power, or 30 times, 30C, to the 100th power, and it's diluted so many times that what causes something in the original form, syrup of Ipecac, will be cured in the homeopathic form. That, my friends, for those of you who are new, is the essence, chef's kiss of what homeopathy is all about. Yeah, I think Ipecac is no longer used, is no longer recommended, I'm sure, because it also is something that if, we might not want the substance to come back up again. If it's something that's caustic, it could cause a secondary burn, etc., for example. But it used to be used on a regular basis. Okay, how are we doing on time? Let's see if we've got some questions. I have a couple, I've got a lot of medicines here, but we don't have time for them all. So I'm planning on doing this next week as well. Let's see if we have any questions. And then let me tell you the medicine that works for me almost every time. Here we go. Yeah, I grew up with it, Pat says. Yeah. Oh, yes. Ipecac. Everybody knew. Everybody knew. Same way. My friends, when we use how to dose this is the question. How often should it be repeated? In the same fashion I'm saying with all of these. If it's something that is really, really severe, I mean, not because you're emotionally look at it and you're tired of it all, that doesn't make it severe. Be really logical about this. Be forthright about it. If it's a very severe cough, such as whooping cough, then I might use the medicine more frequently, every hour for a couple of doses, then every 3 or 6 hours, then every 12 hours as the progression of the disease backs off and the ability of the medicine takes over. All righty. And the medicine that I use almost universally for myself, for when I feel as though I'm catching something, it works like magic for me, and that is nux vomica. And it's probably because I'm very much in the head, I'm working all the time, I'm sitting at a computer, and I have a lot of responsibility, and that is the nux vomica picture, my friends. So a lot of times it is the man of the house who needs nux vomica. Not always, but a man who is an attorney or an accountant or is very much in the head or has a lot of responsibility, can be very irritable. And I know if I'm not feeling so hot, I felt it the other day, I felt something coming on. I said, uh-oh, I feel something coming on, and I was irritable. But it only lasted about a couple of hours because I knew instantly I needed to take nux vomica. And I took it in a 30. Actually, I took it in a 200, and then my husband and I went out, and I keep a kit in the car. And in the car was, the only kit that I had in the car was a 30th potency. And I had taken nux vomica earlier in the day, 200, and I was feeling pretty well. But then it started to come back again about 5 hours later, and I knew I needed another dose, but I was already in the car. So I pulled the kit out from under the seat and took a 30th potency, and I was golden for the rest of the evening and have not had it since. And that was, that was Saturday night. Full moon tonight. It's a beautiful full moon. All right, let's see what we've got here. Lingering cough over 2 weeks or sulfur. Here's the thing. I'm glad you brought that up, Pamela. There is a way to look at using sulfur. I love sulfur 30 for when a cough or a cold lingers on. More often, sulfur is for a cold or a flu. A cough generally, let me also say, and I think this is really important, my friends. If the cough is disruptive, keeping the person from being able to sleep, if the cough is causing paroxysms of coughing and then they gag or they vomit, if the cough is painful, if the cough is causing breathlessness, if it's an issue, then we treat it. If it's not an issue, and it was an issue, but now it's just lingering, kind of hanging on there, and it's helping to eliminate some of the mucus, my friends, that is what a cough is supposed to do. It's supposed to clear out the lungs and the throat and even the sinuses. So I'm not saying you should not use a medicine at that point, but if the cough is not disruptive to someone's life, I would let it go. Drink good amount of water, drink good bone stock, get some sunshine if you possibly can, and get moving with making sure that your sleep is restorative and you're doing the right things in your life. And the cough will simply melt away on its own. Meanwhile, while it's still there, it's clearing out. So it doesn't mean someone is still sick just because they're still coughing. It's the residual of getting it all out. My cat has a cough. I treat him with homeopathy. A Mexican homeopath gave me meds during a trip to Mexico City. It works so well. A pity I didn't go back and don't know what he used. Contact him. Find out what it was that was used. You always want to know what a homeopath gives you. For a number of reasons. For exactly this. This is the number one reason. You want to be able to use it again. Contact him and say, please tell me what you used for my cat. All righty. Let's see if we have any other. So, drosera, Sambucus, and Aralia are all worse for lying down. It's not quite like that, Carla. For when it comes to Aralia, the person has to have been down for some time, not just lying down right now. They have to go lie down, and often they fall asleep and wake up into coughing shortly after having fallen asleep. Okay, so it's not just the mechanics of lying down. It actually has to be some amount of time involved in it. 6 or 30, yes, for Aralia. Yeah, Leanne, that's great. According to Boron's pharmacist, we use low dilutions because we want to promote the evacuation of phlegm, promote secretions. And Boron thinks in low potency terms. Just know that is the way they think. It's a kind of a French way of looking at it. I don't think they're wrong, but it is a method that they use. My husband had a cold with cough these last few weeks, and as soon as he started coughing, I gave him Ipecac, and it stopped immediately. Bam, beautiful, Pat from Lawrence, Kansas. Nice job. Whooping cough is the worst. 5 of my family members got it before I knew about homeopathy. Yeah, I actually had whooping cough myself, my friends. I went to India, went to work at the Banerjee, Prasanta Banerjee Homeopathic Research Foundation, and I think it was the 3rd year I was there. There was a little boy right in front of me who was coughing, and not long after, I started with the same cough, and it was not easy. It was in my 60s when I had that. It was really rough going for a while until I could figure, and then I said, you know what, this is whooping cough. I didn't have the whoop, but I certainly had that cough, and it was exhausting and painful. Okay, what about Aconitum bryonia? 4 times in the first hour, says Becky. Aconitum 200 with bryonia 30. Yes, my friends, I will leave you with that. Aconitum 200 with bryonia 30. 4 times in the first hour, and after that, every few hours or so. If there's no change, after that, maybe 5th dose, then abandon it. And that's true for all of these medicines, my friends. If you don't see some shift, it doesn't have to be resolved, it doesn't have to be cured, just a shift. The person's now able to sleep. The person is not as freaked out. The person is not gagging. We want to see something shift a little bit. And then we know that the medicine is acting. We're looking for satellite conditions around the cough that have also improved to determine whether or not the medicine is acting properly. Okay. I think we did it. No, we have 1 more minute. Let's keep going. Someone says, Aconitum 200 breath 4 times when I have never needed the 3rd dose. It works so fast and so well, says Alice. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, Aconitum with bryonia. That is a Banerjee protocol, my friends. That Aconitum 200 with bryonia 30 is what the Banerjees taught me. Okay. Yeah, everybody's talking about it. It's great. I love it. I love that you're onto that. No doubt about it. That is more often than not always, but more often than not, it's at the beginning of the cough that we use Aconite mixed with bryonia. All right. Yeah, ground yourself. Feet in dirt or sand. Well, I would do that too, but it's awfully cold here. As you can see, I'm dressed in winter clothing. I love to walk on the beach barefoot. All righty. What materia medica or book is good to get that covers these newer remedies like, I'm not sure I know what you're saying, panther, okay. So you can use My Materia Medica. You can go to my site, and it's a very simple book. It's very easy for you to get through. You just go to Joette's Learning Center, and you'll find Joette's Materia Medica. But also, there are many books. There's a repertory. And I urge you, if you're not familiar, then I urge you very strongly, my friends, to join a Gateway study group. That's where you're going to learn how to do this. Gateway, go to Joette's Learning Center again and find Gateway to Homeopathy and join a group. And it's very easy to join a group. You just contact my office and they will hook you up with somebody who's teaching it on Zoom or even perhaps locally. But at some point then you might even want to start your own group, and we show you exactly how to go about doing it, and you can bring in your own friends, etc. But that's where you're going to learn not just this little bit of information I'm giving you now, but how to build your knowledge and to grow within a group kind of as one. And then if you're not a Mighty member, you might want to do that as well. Joette's Mighty members. And so please like, share, and comment, and even subscribe. It helps to keep homeopathy alive and well, this practical homeopathy, so that many more can be aided. So God bless you all. Mwah. Good night. I'll see you next week. We'll do coughs further. Bye now.
With our homeopathic protocols, you learn your remedies. My family needs me, so I must know our remedies. How much to take, how often to treat, and when to stop, and when to repeat. With our homeopathic protocols, you learn your remedies. Athusa no dairy, it's elementary with arnica head, arsenica fed, spigelia slither, orms from wither, no more infirm. My family needs me, so I improve my memory. Not only the rems, but how often to treat, and when to stop, and when to repeat. With your homeopathic protocols, learn your remedies. Bella so red and arnica head, drosera bark, ignatia dark, source of frigid and cuprum to rigid, and crude itches, calica bonicum, let it melt on your gumbo, to wheat are some great ways to treat yellow. La 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 la, homeopathic protocols, learn your remedies. With our homeopathic protocols, you learn your remedies. My family needs me, so I must know our remedies. How much to take, how often to treat, and when to stop, and when to repeat. With our homeopathic protocols, you learn your remedies. Athusa no dairy, it's elementary with arnica head, arsenica fed, spigelia slither, orms from wither, no more infirm. My family needs me, so I improve my memory. Not only the rems, but how often to treat, and when to stop, and when to repeat. With your homeopathic protocols, learn your remedies. Bella so red and arnica head, drosera bark, ignatia dark, source of frigid and cuprum to rigid, and crude itches, calica bonicum, let it melt on your gumbo, to wheat are some great ways to treat yellow. La 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 la, homeopathic protocols, learn your remedies. With our homeopathic protocols, you learn your remedies. My family needs me, so I must know our remedies. How much to take, how often to treat, and when to stop, and when to repeat. With our homeopathic protocols, you learn your remedies. Athusa, no dairy, it's elementary. With arnica head, arsenicum fed, spigelia slither, orm sperm wither, no more. My family needs me, so I improve my memory. Not only the rems, but how often to treat, and when to stop, and when to repeat. With your homeopathic protocols, learn your remedies. Bellaso red and arnica head, drosera bark, ignatia dark, source of frigid and cuprum to rigid, and crude itches, calica bonicum, let it melt on your gumbo, vista weed are some great ways to treat yellow. La 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 la, homeopathic protocols, learn your remedies. With our homeopathic protocols, you learn your remedies. My family needs me, so I must know our remedies. How much to take, how often to treat, and when to stop, and when to repeat. With our homeopathic protocols, you learn your remedies. Athusa, no dairy, it's elementary. With arnica head, arsenicum fed, spigelia slither, orm sperm wither, no more. My family needs me, so I improve my memory. Not only the rems, but how often to treat, and when to stop, and when to repeat. With your homeopathic protocols, learn your remedies. Bellaso red and arnica head, drosera bark, ignatia dark, source of frigid and cuprum to rigid, and crude itches, calica bonicum, let it melt on your gumbo, vista weed are some great ways to treat yellow. La 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 la, homeopathic protocols, learn your remedies.